Hello guys and welcome to my next upload for today. This is the off-season outlook and discussion for the Atlantic Hurricane season. And we're going to be taking a look at the SSTs in ENSO 3.4 region. Not to mention we're going to look at the CFS models for the month of May and June now. We're going to be looking more at June now too because we're getting towards the end of March and going into April, in which in that time, April, May, June, that's only 2 months away from now. So that might be a little bit more reliable to look at as we, head closer to the month of April. And that's what we're going to look at today. So here we are at the ENSO 3.4 region. And as you can see, we got peaks and valleys galore, and then a massive uptick here. And then we reached the dead neutral here somewhere in about around mid-March here. And then it started to tank up and down, up and down, up and down, and then down. There you go. But as you can see recently in the last couple of days, this has been going up. In my last video, as you guys know, we were at negative 1 point something. And right now we're at a negative 0.977. So it is going up gradually from here. So, I mean, at this point, we're either going to be seeing a cool neutral or a weak La Nina year. It just seems like it's in the bag pretty much here. I do foresee the first several months being under La Nina conditions because, as you guys may know, it takes about 3 or 4 months for the atmosphere to catch up with these numbers. So we're just going to have to see how this all pans out as we go forward in time. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the C.C surface temperatures here. These were refreshed around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it shows the 12Z temperature anomalies, which was 8 a.m. And as you can see here, we got consistent 28s here in the western and central Caribbean here near Jamaica. We got some 28 and a halves popping up here in parts of the southwestern Caribbean. We got 27s consistently in the central and eastern Caribbean with some shades of 28s popping up in here, or 27.5, excuse me. So the whole of the Caribbean temperature-wise is always supportive of tropical cyclones year-round. It doesn't matter if you're in December, January, February. These temperatures are normally conducive of tropical development all year round. But we don't see that because you got shear to deal with, you got the MGO to deal with, which is keeping the rising motion trapped in the Indian Ocean and not anywhere else. And plus, that's avoiding the Pacific like the plague right now. So as long as that Indian Ocean MGO stays in place, you're not going to get any development almost anywhere else. It's just going to primarily be the Indian Ocean for the next month or so until that MGO starts making its way around the globe. So with that being said, we're still talking about this SSTs. Okay, so in Gulf of Mexico, we have 26s and 27s starting to really creep up here. And we got 26s and 26.5 here in Bay Campeche. But as you can see here, we got some 27s that are creeping up here along the Florida coast here. These are definitely here in the Keys and near Miami now. And the 26s are around West Palm Beach area. So these areas around Florida, at least the tip of Florida is conducive for tropical cyclones. If one decided to become one at this current point in time, but obviously we're not going to have that because it's March. It's late March, and usually this year is just way too much for any tropical development. All right, so now we're going to be taking a look at the deep tropics here. And as you can see, we got 26s here that are creeping up towards the 15 line. And you see here, the MDR region is so cool right now. But, we got to think about that. It's only March. These are really going to start heating up as we get into the later months. I do foresee these temperatures to get towards the 26s and 27s here near the islands here. Not Cabo, but I forgot. Yeah, Cabo Verde Islands here. Sometimes you mistake things, every once in a while, but Cape Verde, Cabo Verde, however you want to say it, You know, these temperatures are probably going to get to near 26s and 27s near the peak of the season. So, you know, obviously that's still conducive for tropical cyclone development, but 26s and 27s are iffy when it comes to hurricane development. So if these water temperatures remain cool through, you know, midway through the season, these systems are going to come farther west than anticipated because they're not going to be able to really, you know, dig into that, you know, 28s and 29s that typically make your systems blow up to major cyclones, and that's not, it doesn't look like it's going to be a thing going forward. All right, we're going to get another tropical tidbits page up here. We're going to see what the anomaly changes here are for the western Atlantic. And as you can see here, you know, obviously we're not looking at the cold front anymore. That's been like, you know, 8-9 days from now. And as you can see, you know, these temperatures are really starting to heat up in the last 7 days. We're looking at, maybe 1 to 2 degrees above normal here in the past 7 days. And as you can see here in the Gulf Stream, that's getting up to almost 3 degrees above average. So it looks like we're going to be in another year where the subtropics are going to be probably hotter or warmer than the deep tropics. And, you know, if you got the subtropics that are hotter than, you know, anywhere else, you're probably going to get a lot of subtropical activity, you know, and the subtropical activity, you know, you're probably not going to get hyperactive in ACE if that happens, but you could get hyperactive in named storms. So, you know, if you got the subtropics spitting out storms, there's a possibility that we're going to be looking at a hyperactive season in terms of named storms, which, you know, obviously here in the next 2.5 weeks, you guys will know what my predictions are for this hurricane season. So with that being said, we got the Gulf of Mexico that's starting to heat up a little bit too. And the Caribbean has a mixed bag here of warm anomalies, neutral anomalies, and below average anomalies. But these below average anomalies are like really on the weaker side of things, probably a half a degree below, you know, what is average in this region. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the tropical Atlantic here, and as you can see, you know, it's pretty much the same deal as, you know, 2 days ago. You got a little bit of a mixed bag here. You got some cooler than usual anomalies here off Africa and some of the southern NDR region, and then you got neutrals hanging around here throughout most of the main development region. And then you got some speckles of, you know, warmer anomalies here in the past 7 days or so. But we're gonna have to see if these cooler anomalies turn into warmer anomalies here in the next month or so. I firmly do believe that these anomalies are going to warm up from here. We're just going to have to see how much from here. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the Cfs version 2 total accumulated precipitation anomalies. And this is validated on March 22nd on the 6Z and 12Z. So as you can see, this is for the month of May here, and as you can see, this anomaly is still here. This is why me and Weather Hub TV are so confident in maybe something forming here in the Caribbean from a Central American gyre. Now, you know, some of these precipitation anomalies are, you know, getting up here into the 6, you know, 8 inches above normal, you know, range here. And, you know, if you're getting that far above, you know, above the average, then that's hitting towards a possible development of a tropical cyclone that could happen somewhere between mid-May and late May. So we're just gonna have to see how that all plans out. And as you can see here, that there is some precipitation anomalies here in the Eastern Pacific, but it's starting to favor the Atlantic side more than the Eastern Pacific side. So we're going to have to see how that pans out. So like I said, now we're going to be starting to look at June now. And right here, you got a pretty decent anomaly trail from Puerto Rico all the way to Florida. So that can be, you know, that could be precipitation or a tropical cyclone going through these areas. You also got some subtropics, you know, precipitation too, that could, you know, lead out to see, systems, if they do decide to form in those areas. We also got some nice looking precipitation anomalies here in the eastern and central Gulf here too. So we're just gonna have to see if these are cold fronts that are coming through. Obviously when we get cold fronts, sometimes they like to stall and form tropical cyclones off the tail end of a decaying front. So that could be something that happens in June as well, because that's typically what your the normal here in June, your culprit, so to speak, of how tropical cyclones usually form in May or June. It's normally the tails of a decaying front. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the Cfs V2 Bulk Share here. And as you can see, there's tons of favorable shear here throughout the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, the subtropics, and even the MDR. I've never seen the CFS really, play this hard into favorable wind shear here. And this is another reason why me and Weatherhub TV are so confident in something happening in mid-May to kickstart the Atlantic hurricane season. We could have two systems before the start of a hurricane season. We could see a 2020 May, or maybe even seeing something form in April too. Well, that's one in April, one in May. It's a possibility, especially when you see the precip anomalies for the month of April. So, it could definitely happen. Just you gotta see what happens going forward. All right, so now we're going to take a look at June, and this is pretty much the same thing as the May anomalies here. We got favorability all over the place, even here in the that westernmost parts of the eastern MDR region is favorable, subtropics favorable, Caribbean favorable, Gulf of Mexico favorable. This is amazing to look at right here, as this will be telling going through the hurricane season if those favorable conditions really pay off. And as you can see here, like I said, this trail of precipitation going from Puerto Rico to Florida, well, there you go, favorable conditions from Puerto Rico all the way to Florida. So obviously I'm more confident in May happening now than I am June, but we're now taking a look at that now, because since we're getting into almost April here, so it makes a little bit more sense. Anyways, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. I might have another update video tomorrow on something tropical. This grind doesn't stop. It's all day, every day. So until then, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.